From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
One more corner pocket.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi.
Wake up! What is up, everybody? It is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Coming up on today's show, the offense explodes. An offensive lineman goes down for the season, and we take your questions on the Renegade Express. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill presenting this program to you. Here it is Wake Up Warchant, part of the Warchant.com family. Subscribe to our website. It's only $1 flipping dollar. Come on, get involved. You can post your questions on the Renegade Express. You can read the observations from Corey, Ira, Tom, Michael Langston's recruiting insight, nuggets from Gene, everything. Only $1 for an entire year. Corey, say something really awesome about Corner Pocket.
It's the best. It's the best. I think I don't think they have live music on Friday night. So if you're looking to get out, hear some music, Corner Pocket's the place to be on Friday night. I will be there because, I can't say that. Never mind. But I will be. I will probably be in attendance at some point on Friday night. So live music. You know me and live music, Aslan. Can't miss it. Can't miss it.
Rug Cutter Clark is what they call that guy.
Absolutely. And on Tuesday night when we hosted trivia, big victory. I think everybody enjoyed it. I even tried to promo Warchant a little bit to some people. Let them know about Warchant and the incredible deal we're offering. But I had wings. I do all flats, mild, side salad. It's all sometimes you get a side salad, Aslan, and there's barely any cheese on it.
Yeah.
There's nothing in there. Right. I mean, these are legitimate salads, man. Mm-hmm. These are the real deal. I'm just telling you, they do it all at Corner Pocket. The wings are awesome, and then that side salad was on point, too.
All right. Good stuff. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, cptallybar.com is a website, or you can hit that QR code with your phone's camera app. It'll take you right to the website. Let's dive into it. We got so many questions on the Renegade Express, but let's talk about practice on Wednesday before we get started. We will be live on Thursday. That'll be your Friday podcast from Jacksonville, Florida. Florida State will be practicing on Thursday and Friday, a little 2-day minicamp before they scrimmage again on Saturday. So stay with us. We'll be bringing it from Jacksonville, from Duval County, the way we know how to do it. All right, man. I wasn't able to watch really any of practice after period 4 because I was trying to do all this weird video stuff that we're doing these days. Check it all out. But the offense, apparently I missed a head-turning day from the offense. Just how impressive was it? What impressed you the most from what you saw in Wednesday's practice?
What a stunner, Aslan. Okay. They have the best day of all time, and you don't see a second of it. Isn't that weird?
I know.
What were you doing?
I was putting our video on Facebook as well. That takes a little bit more time from your dude.
When you were in the IPF?
No, I went up to the press box in Hauser and did all that stuff there. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, isn't that convenient? And Jordan Travis out there looking like Pat Mahomes. You don't see that. You're up in the press box somehow, not seeing a darn second of it.
How many periods was this? Was it just 2 great periods, or was it all day? I mean, everybody walking out there was like, dang.
So they had, they were all 11 on 11. They didn't do any 7 on 7 or 1-on-1s. It was a lot of special teams. I would say half the practice was special teams work. They made it kind of a light practice, which wasn't surprising. It was all indoors. They're in the middle of a 6-day in a row stretch. They're going to some really tough – they had 2 tough practices in a row, and then they're going to have 2 more in Jacksonville later today and then on Friday before the scrimmage on Saturday. So this made sense to dial it back a little bit. So it was a light practice. Half of it was special teams, and the other half was essentially 11 on 11 situational stuff. But it was real. They were real drives again, some of them. They weren't just they were up-tempo, 1-minute drives, where it wasn't just as we talk about 3 plays and get off the field no matter what they are. The ball stays on the same yard line no matter if it's a 20-yard pass or a 4-yard pass or a sack. The ball stays there. If you got sacked, the ball went back to where you were sacked. If you threw it ahead, the offense went ahead. And so early on, as they always do, period 3, Jordan had a really nice throw to Wyatt Rector in the middle of the field. Jamie Robinson could have destroyed him. It would have been I'm not saying Wyatt Rector would have not caught the ball. It was a really well-thrown ball. But Jamie Robinson didn't get over there in time to make the interception, but he was there to deliver a hit. And because it's a teammate, he held up. But it was still a really nice throw. I like seeing Jordan throw the ball there on time and in rhythm, and I really thought he did. And then he hit Pittman for another big gain. and then he missed a couple, just barely. Like he took a long shot to Pittman in the left corner of the end zone where it was just out of the reach of him diving for it. Then another one.
Come on, man, just everything. Do you want to give coordinates? Do you want to give the verbiage of the play route?
I mean, is that you think? So
I mean,
let's say
he took a shot at Micah Pittman and it didn't work out. I mean, like you're talking middle of the field. Like they don't want us to say these sort of things, man.
I don't understand that. Do you think Duquesne is going to be like, oh my God, they're going to Jordan Travis
threw
a ball in the middle of the field?
Brian Kelly's going to be like, all right, man. I mean, Matt House is an NFL coordinator.
So you think otherwise they just wouldn't cover tight ends running?
I don't know. I think it's silly, but they're making the rules, and I don't want to see the guys get us kicked out.
It's not silly to say they did this. There's some stuff that's going on that we would never ever talk about ever. You just couldn't.
Okay.
Saying somebody threw a ball to the left corner of the end zone to a receiver that's going to be running routes all season long, you hope, that's not giving away any secrets. Micah Pittman's on the team. He's a receiver. Jordan Travis is a thrower. I can promise you Bryce Young threw some deep shots today to the Alabama wide receivers. Okay. I think Stetson Bennett threw some to his Georgia receivers. I don't think Oregon gets an edge because they know that Stetson Bennett completed a pass to Brock Bowers in the middle of the field.
Well,
that's where Brock Bowers lives.
They're going to battle with supremely talented players, but nonetheless, carry on.
Anyway, so just out of his reach, but it was a nice throw. It was just out of his reach, and then the next one, Johnny Wilson dropped, and I only say that because look, he turned his head around. It was on him quick. He just didn't snatch it. It's off his hands. It's not a good play. You need to come down with that. Good throw by Jordan again. And that's kind of what the story of the day to me was Jordan has never looked like that before. And I don't say this lightly, man. I think if y'all listen to me, you know I'm pretty – at least I speak my truth. Like what I can't say I say it like it is.
Don't say that.
I say it like I see it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That's a
better.
difference.
I like that. Please don't ever use my
I will
truth
try
on
not
this
to
program.
do that. I know. I got you. But I say it as I see it. I don't so when Jordan when Jordan's not doing things well, like I think he's holding on to the ball too long, it's not coming out quick. He doesn't see the middle of the field as well as he should. I say all that stuff. Wednesday he looked like a different guy. Middle of the field. So anyway, Johnny Wilson drops that pass. And then he comes back and proceeds to, in the second half of the practice, final 10, 15 minutes, makes three ridiculous plays. Yeah. Three ridiculous plays.
I heard one of them from like 100 yards away. I could hear the reaction in the IPF. I'm like, whoa, what just happened there?
So yeah, and again, this isn't crazy. This isn't crazy to think that with the 6'7" guy, you might throw it up to him in the end zone sometimes. And what he did was he ripped the ball away from a DB that actually had better position. He ripped it away from him, and the offense went nuts. And it's a really big play. And it's not like it was a bad throw. Tate threw it. Rodemaker threw it. It's not like he threw it right. He threw it up. It was a jump ball. As the DB they both had it. It was mutual possession, as we talked about, I think, last week. But as the DB was falling to the ground and Johnny Wilson was falling to the ground, Johnny Wilson ripped it away from him, kept his feet in bounds for a touchdown. I don't even think Wilson fell to the ground, but it was a dude play, man. It's a play that wasn't happening last year. They didn't have anybody that could do that, and that doesn't mean he's not gonna he's gonna have all these moments every game of the season. But to see that, he had another 50-yard catch where he just. It was actually, I thought, Jordan Travis's worst thrown ball of the day because it was a little late. It was behind him. He had to stop for it. It was still 50 yards downfield. He threw it. But safety comes over, and Johnny Wilson just out-talls him, just out-leaps him, out-talls him. Kid had no chance. It was one-on-one.
Add that to the Clarkisms thread that you got going on, S. Quinn.
Yeah, that's right. He out-talled him, and he couldn't do anything with it. And so that's a 50-yard catch. They ruled it down at the 15, but I really think he's probably going to score on that because the safety kind of went by him after he couldn't jump and get the ball. He kind of went by him and fell down, and I think Johnny Wilson probably scores on that. But that's a 50-yard play. And then the very next play, Travis hits Pittman with a bullet in between two defenders, right in the middle of in the end zone, right 1 yard past the end zone, where Pittman takes a shot from two defenders, spins off both of them, hangs onto the ball for a touchdown. And what I loved about it, we know Pittman can make tough catches. We know he's competitive. We know he's going to, when he gets near the end zone, it just seems like that's in his DNA to kind of make plays like this. It probably is in his DNA because that's what his brother does and his dad did. Yeah. But the fact that Jordan threw it, like he wasn't open, Aslan. That's what I'm trying to stress. It wasn't like, I've gotten the impression this was practice 12, The first 10 or 11 practice, it's almost like Jordan hasn't made any major mistakes. He hasn't been bad, but he's not taking any real risks. He hasn't taken a ton of risks.
He has not. That is correct. I can verify that. I can speak my truth on that one.
So there you go. So he's been pretty conservative, which, I mean, there's a fine line, right? You don't want a guy just throwing it to the other team 5 times, but you also don't want a guy that he will not throw the ball unless his guy is running open, like is wide open, because that doesn't happen a lot. I think these receivers I know these receivers are better, but they're still not incredible. They are not going to be just wide open the whole season. They aren't blowing by guys. They're not, Kes McCorvey that can just turn a cornerback around with his cuts. They're not Peter Warrick. They're not Randy Moss. All these, they're just not those guys. So you have to throw it into tight windows, and you have to throw it to them when they're not wide open. Much like the Parchment play that we talk about a lot. It's going down in history. He threw that before Parchment was open. He had to. He had no other choice. And so he can do it. And he put that ball in a perfect spot when he was not wide open. But he threw it with so much conviction, caught it, looked through for a touchdown. And, the offense celebrated that. And then to keep the excitement going, he made, and I wrote about it. It's on the website. You can read my observations about it. And I don't say it lightly. And I make the caveat that we know he's not Pat Mahomes.
Oh, this is the second time now. Huh? All right.
I'm not comparing him to Pat Mahomes. But this play was Mahomesian. It was Mahomesian, man. He takes a snap. He avoids pressure by stepping up in the pocket. By the way, also, the whole time the offensive line, other than a couple plays, I thought the offensive line was really good. And we got to get that in a moment, obviously, with Kayden Lyles. But I thought the offensive line gave them time to throw. And understand the drill was all passing. Like it was like a 1 minute drill where it was all passing. And they did a really good job in pass protection. So anyway, there's a pocket there, a real pocket. Travis steps up to avoid the pressure coming from the outside, rolls to his right just a little bit, proceeds to throw a pass. It's a 21-yard pass over a linebacker in between 3 converging defensive backs in the end zone to a diving Keyshawn Helton. And it was on a rope off 1 foot, rolling to his right, over and around 4 defenders.
I wasn't even there, and I can see it. I can see it. Good descriptor. I can see it.
Oh, thanks, buddy. And it was, I was standing next to Corey Simon, FSU great, former FSU great. Now he works for Seminole Boosters. And his eyes got big, and I'm like, that was crazy. He goes like, whoa. He even made a noise like, whoa. Like, and he's seen a lot. I mean, he was on a national championship team. He played with Winky and Warwick. He's seen a lot better than this. But even it impressed him. Like, wow, where did that come from? And that was the last throw Jordan made of the day. But it wasn't as if everything else was kind of blah. I mean, I think he threw 2 incompletions the whole day out of probably 20 attempts. The ball just was not hitting the ground. He hit McClain.
That's Winston-esque.
That's what I'm saying, man. He hit McClain on contested catches for first downs, like 3rd and 10, 2nd and 10, 12 yards down by the sideline. Right. I mean, it just looked like it's never looked before. And if you can hear some excitement in my voice, and maybe it's not false excitement, but maybe it's just wishful thinking because it was one day in the middle of a 6-day stretch in early August. But I haven't seen the Florida State passing offense look like that since Travis has been here. It's been a minute, man. It was the single best practice throwing the ball that I've seen them have since I've been watching practice. And it was like, okay, and you realize, okay, these are Wilson and Pittman in particular had the 2 big days, but McClain had a couple really nice catches. And
you talked about Keyshawn Helton too. So.
And Keyshawn Helton had that was a really big catch. And
that's
Keyshawn
3 diving catches.
Camp.
He had a diving catch earlier this week that was pretty crazy too to go on the one that he had the week prior. So
yeah, he's had a nice camp. So he might be in the mix. I would think maybe, but those 2 guys in particular, Pittman and Wilson, and what they did today, and what they did Wednesday, and what Wilson did on Tuesday, to build off that, all of a sudden I almost want to stop qualifying it. I don't even want to be like, hey, I know it's practice, but he was really good today. There might just be a chance that Johnny Wilson's really good.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like an 8 to 10 or 11 touchdown catch guy, 45 I don't know. We know Pittman. I don't think we're going to be surprised if Pittman has his best year of his career, but Johnny Wilson should have his best year of his career too. And I know that's not a high bar to clear, but man, and what if these guys are, like we said yesterday, what if these guys are guys? Not just better than what Florida State has, but still kind of subpar for what good ACC offenses are. What if these guys are just legitimately good receivers? What if Jordan Travis has that now to go along with an offensive line that, for the most part, can keep them upright? I just think, I know LSU will tell us a lot more than one practice in August, but it's cool to know it's there. It's cool to know there's some potential there. We'll see if they have pitfalls. We'll see if they shrink in the moment. But, man, Johnny Wilson has some stuff that you can't teach that they haven't had here in a good long while, and so does Micah Pittman. And we've talked about Deuce Spann plenty. Now, I didn't see him do much at all on Wednesday, but those two guys in particular were just lights out, man. It was cool to see because they're going to be able to run the ball. Yeah. If they can get days like that through the air where it's not just, okay, a bunch of incompletions and you hit a 70-yarder, once every couple games or something, like it was legitimately competent, controlled, up-tempo, bang, 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 completion, touchdown. It was just nuts. So unlike anything I've seen from Jordan Travis since I've been watching Jordan Travis.
Okay, then, I did see period 3, just want to mention, and then we'll obviously go to talk about Kayden Lyles. This is where we transition to Aslan's glumness or whatever. So period 3 is just a hurry-up offense. They're down 3-0, the offense, and they it starts on their own 25, own 30. It's, I don't know, maybe 3 minutes, not even 3 minutes on the clock, 2 minutes on the clock, and they got a timeout or whatever. And as Corey pointed out, man, 2 big completions. They get into the red zone. They can't convert a touchdown. So then they run out the field goal unit. And, this period, they really do create from the jump. This is period 3. Period 1 is stretching pretty much, and then they do some individual work in period 2. So this is really early in practice, and they create a quite tense game-like situation. They bring out the kicker, and I can see Norvell walking onto the field from the sideline. I'm like, he's going to freeze the kicker right now. And they get ready to snap the ball. Norvell calls a timeout, yells at the referee. They whistle it dead, nails the field goal, nails it. But he called the timeout beforehand, so he iced them. Comes back, and they put out like a full-on out field goal block situation. You're like, they're trying to block this thing to preserve a spot to go to Charlotte. And the kick is missed, and I don't think there was any contact on it. But it was funny because Johnny Wilson was out there as part of this unit, and then they have the replay up on those 4K boards they have at the practice fields. And Norvell's like, you can tell it's probably going to be a good day because it's period 4, and he's joking around. They're all like, he's looking at the screen, Mike Norvell is, so everybody else is kind of stopping and looking at the screen too. And he's like, Johnny, he's like, what happened? He's like, you only jumped 9 inches? He's like, you're just going to be 7'2". That's all you're going to give me. Just 7'2", huh? And then he's like, sorry, coach. I was just trying to time myself up right. So that was a funny exchange. But, yeah, listen, the guys scored there. They're down in that situation. They're down by 3 points, and they got to at least, try to get a field goal out of it. And they couldn't get a field goal out of it. So all the good they did, those 2 great completions, none of it would have mattered because they would have lost the game in that situation. And then we transition to the post-practice interview, which, again, there was rumors out there about Kayden Lyles and his availability this season. We had seen him out at practice the last few days. Maybe not participating, but he was out there, so that's what we would tell you. But he is going to be out for the season. Mike Norvell confirmed that. Undisclosed knee injury. Obviously, it means a lot for depth. I'll let you go with it, Corey, and then I'll come on top. Your thoughts, Kayden Lyles being out now for the season.
Yeah, it's a loss. I'm not sure we know how big a loss it is, only because, he never, we can honestly say he wasn't working much at all, even before the injury.
Thank you. Okay, I didn't want to be the guy to say, but thank you.
With Jordan Travis, let's just say.
Oh.
He wasn't doing a lot of snapping to Jordan Travis. So, I don't know if I don't know that you lost a starter or you just lost some depth, and there's no way to know now. Yeah. But it is a loss because of what he could give you depth wise, and maybe he could have played another position if he wasn't going to play center. He could have backed you up at multiple positions probably. But also you don't have anybody now that's done this. Like, what a luxury it would have been. Let's just say Maurice Smith was going to be the starter either way, whether Kayden Lyles was healthy or not. If something were to happen to Maurice Smith, what a luxury it is, a comfort to know you've got a guy that's played center in the Big Ten, like multiple starts, more than 10 starts at center in the Big Ten behind him to back him up, as opposed to what they have now, which is nobody that's started at center in college football. I think Darius Washington might have gotten a few snaps at center last year, or maybe he was just working there. But as Norvell, as Mike Norvell said after practice, Thomas Schrader's been working there, and Darius Washington can work there. And he also said Dylan Gibbons has played some center before too, but that would be, I don't think that's the right move to make. Clearly, maybe he can be your backup center, I guess, if worse comes to worse. But I think now it pretty much solidifies that Maurice Smith is your starter. I don't think there's any question of that. But who's his backup?
David Stickle.
I don't know.
David Stickle, Thomas Schrader.
Yeah, but I think what if Darius Washington doesn't win one of the other jobs? Would you not want him to be your primary backup at center and also be a backup at guard?
Look at all these options we're throwing out there, or that, yeah.
So and Norvell seemed pretty choked up about it, honestly. Like when he was talking about it, he seemed to get almost emotional talking about Kayden Lyles, the person, and how bad he felt for him. And I think he said it was Saturday night he went and talked to him when they found out the news. I thought he said Saturday. Maybe he didn't put I know he said the weekend, but I thought he actually specified Saturday night. So maybe after the scrimmage when they found out the news for sure. And he said he went to the training table and they talked, and it was a rough moment. And he seemed genuinely affected by it. Yeah. But, yeah, I think, a year ago, 2 years ago, this would have been a death blow. But I think you do have some options. Number one, you've got to keep Maurice Smith healthy. That's you do not want to. All of a sudden, you felt really good about the center position. And if Maurice Smith gets banged up, you're going to be starting someone that's never started. And they do a shotgun, 97% of the snaps are out of the shotgun. And you're going to have somebody that's snapping that's never snapped it really in a college football game before. That's not ideal. But you still do have your returning starter. And Ira, I thought, brought up a really good point when we did the wrap after the practice on Wednesday that, kudos to Maurice Smith, too. A lot of people in his position, when they bring in a guy to come play his position that's got this experience, that's a starter, was a Remington Award watch list guy last year at this time, to come take your position, a lot of guys just say peace and bounce, or they get really personally offended by it. That didn't seem to happen with Maurice Smith at all. He got bigger, he got stronger, presumably he got better, and Alex Atkins can't say enough good things about that guy. So it is good to have him. You still got your starter back, and a guy that I probably was challenged by the addition of Kayden Lyles, and you hope got better because of it. He certainly got bigger, but hopefully got better because of it. And then but the problem is now you've lost one of your veteran presence. Let's say they thought they had a rotation of 9. Well, now it's 8.
Yeah.
And if you lose another guy, 7 isn't a lot. So that's something to deal with. It's not nothing to lose Kayden Lyles, even if he wasn't going to actually be the starting center.
Correct. Yeah. I just don't. I think part of the reason Maurice Smith stuck around was because he saw what happened in spring, which is the fact that he was still highly thought of and highly utilized throughout that practice. And I don't know if this ever was a 2014 situation, like an Austin Barron or Ryan Hofield, whoever it was, where it was all right, man, let's just try to get through a couple of weeks, and then at some point we can move this Rod Johnson kid to center, Cam Irving to center, and then we can put Rod Johnson at tackle. And I never had the sense, again, and we mentioned on the show, I'm like, listen, there's nothing that's shown me that they have figured out that Kayden Lyles is what they want to have at center.
Right.
Now, they went and got him for a reason as well, too, so that's fair. But I guess the long game, and you would bring this up, was hey, maybe not Duquesne, maybe not LSU, but maybe by the time you get to October, then that's when this sort of changing of the guard happens over. But now, it's Maurice's job for better or worse, and I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be fine. And I'm being serious. And this sucks, man, for real, for Kayden Lyles, personally, and that's why I think Mike Norvell was emotional like that. I mean, when you get a kid to transfer and he's been through some, injuries before, and you've got this great situation, it happens like that. It's a true bummer. So, I mean, I definitely feel bad for the kid, and I was excited to see what he could be for this program. I had him right up there, right behind Maurice on my top 40, like most everybody. But again, I just don't. The offense, man, it really is next man up, and whether it's Darius, whether it's Thomas Schrader getting better every single day, whether it's David Stickle as a walk-on maybe being serviceable, they'll figure out they'll be okay. And honestly, man, if I would have told you on Wednesday you figure out that you're not going to have Kayden Lyles, or you might go against Wake Forest without Sam Hartman.
Yeah, how about that?
I'd be wow, man, all right, that's almost a wash in some sort of regards there. Not to, trivialize people's health and stuff like that, but Again, we've been talking about depth for weeks now, and this is kind of an example of it. I know he was a big part of that, but to Corey's point, if they had 9 guys they thought they could rely on, now it's 8. But all you need is 5.
What's so odd about it, though, Aslan, because you brought up the rumors and then the fact that he was out at practice.
Yes.
The last few days, and he was out at practice Wednesday when Norvell finally told us. He said, I think he said the diagnosis. They finally got the news on Saturday. Well, Lyles had still been out at practice the last 3 or 4 days, and not only just out at practice like on crutches or something, he was dressed out in shoulder pads.
Yeah.
Like he was dressed out. Like
he was going through stretch. When we were there, he would go through stretch in the first period.
So you would not think that somebody that's going through stretch has suffered a season-ending injury. Now, I don't know if they would they gave him 3 days to test it to see if maybe he could play through something, that it wouldn't, maybe there's a way.
Go Phil Rivers, Phil Rivers-esque and play through the
Yeah, and we don't know. It was an unspecified injury. But so we won't, you can speculate what it could be. But anyway, maybe sometimes you can play through some stuff. And maybe it's partial and not full. Whatever the case, let's see if your body can handle this and that or this movement or that movement. Let's give it 3 or 4 days of just lightly work. Or he just wants to come out to a football practice and wear shoulder pads. I've never seen it. We've seen a lot of dudes get injured in the 15 years I've been covering this. They don't ever come back out in shoulder pads. So anyway, it was bizarre. It was odd, but that's why I asked Norvell what I asked him about Lyles after he told us. What does that say about him to not just be out here, but to be out here dressed out, out here with this team? He's not wearing sweatpants. He's out here dressed out. And he had nothing but nice things to say about the kid and how that he still wants to make an impact on the team even if he can't play. He really does want to make an impact on the team, and then we'll see if he's available to. Maybe come back for another year in 2023. But that's up in the air right now, it sounded like, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Go. 3, 2. All right, to the ponies we go. I might have to kind of condense some of your folks' questions, but we really do appreciate it. This might be the most we've ever had bang for buck in terms of the amount of time. It wasn't even up for 12 hours, and there was over 30 replies. So it's awesome. Let's go to Kyle. Get down and lay
we
down.
could also save some for the live show if we have to.
Yeah. All right, since it is Identity Week, what moments have you guys had in your life that revealed your character? He thinks these practices will do more to reveal who these players really are as opposed to developing it. He says he'll never forget being humbled in Army Ranger School, realized he wasn't as good as he thought he was, reevaluate his whole approach to training, made him a better soldier in person. What moment revealed your character or someone close to your character, Corey? Just Brady, Brady acting the fool when he was 2 years old and you being cool out in public? Did that reveal your character? I'm a pretty cool dad.
I'm saying revealing your character is I've had some bad moments. I don't necessarily want to talk about those, but I also don't want to talk about good moments because then it sounds like I'm bragging. Yeah. Look what an awesome person I am or a great dad I am. I've had, I lose my temper too much with him. Now he can be a little brat, but he's 14, right? That kind of comes with the territory. That's on the flyer when you pick them up, that they're going to be brats when they're 14, but, Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I try to be a good dad, but I can't think of a single thing where I revealed my character. I don't know. Do you have an answer? Maybe
every day driving in Tallahassee, and I stay in my car and I don't get out and hurt somebody. This reveals my good character. You all don't know how to drive, and you make
not us all. Don't throw me in there.
Well, yeah, most of you.
I'm telling you, the people on Mahan, and I'm just specifically talking to you guys. When you're on Mahan and it becomes Tennessee. The speed limit is 45, which means theoretically you can go anywhere from 50 to 54, and you're perfectly fine.
Oh, okay.
Why are you driving 32? I just don't get it. There's a bus in the right lane, and then you're driving 32 in the left lane, and it's almost all of you. It's 45. So put it on cruise at 50. You're allowed to cruise when you're not on the highway if you have to. Good grief, get out of the way. I think I just revealed some of my character, Aslan.
There we go.
With that rant.
Oh, there we go. Bradley Moss used to be Bradley Moss 22 on the old Warchant site, but either way, I'm happy to be on board with On 3. He came across an article from your friend David Hale of ESPN called Position U, where he would rank the top 5 schools that produce the most talent at each position. FSU not top 5 in any of those, which is odd. But he says
I think it's now, currently.
Okay. But he said FSU was listed as best in the conference at receiver and offensive line. What the heck? I almost fell off the couch when I saw that, but I guess they were going off of history, obviously not what they've had recently. It was good to see us ranked number 2 for D-line, 1 for kickers, but not in the top 5 for DBs and not best in the conference either. What's up with that? Would love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't read the story, and I don't know what the framing is. Like, what is it supposed to be just this year, the last 10 years, ever? Because obviously if you're doing ever, then they're DBU in the ACC. So it must. I would assume it's recent. It's hard for me to comment on it. Like, there's no way David Hale, who's he got at was Duke DBU? He's got 5. Not just that Florida State isn't number 1. There's 5 teams that you would call DB that are better at defensive back in the history of football than Florida State in the ACC alone. Like, who is that? NC State, North Carolina. They had Dre Bly. Like, no, you just had another Hall of Famer from your school's secondary inducted. So, and you've had two Thorpe Award winners, maybe the best corner that's ever played, probably the best corner that's ever played, along with another Hall of Famer. Jalen Ramsey is going to be in the Hall of Fame. Derwin James, if he can stay healthy, is at least an All-Pro, and maybe he has a great career and ends up in the Hall of Fame. Like, come on, man. Come on. Give me a break.
We're not going to spend too much time on this. I love you, though, Bradley Moss. Thanks for following us over here. Let's go to DB. Ohio State's DBU, they're 1, LSU 2, Bama 3, Florida 4, Miami 5.
Oh, so it wasn't. So what? I thought it was an ACC compilation. I guess I was just thinking that because it's David Hale and he focuses
Well, then he also
the
he does the top 5. So he does DBU, yada yada, and then he also does best by conference. So the top 5 DBU. So Ohio State's overall, and then LSU 2, Bama 3. But then he also has the best in the ACC. It's Miami. The best in the SEC is LSU because they're ahead of Alabama and Florida. So. It's like 2 within 1. I did a horrible job of explaining that.
I got it. Yeah, so Miami's up there. Okay, but then that you assume Florida State's second. And look, man, when you look at the list, I mean, I know everybody wants Florida State to be known as DBU or place kicker U. By the way, that should be what they're known as.
And he has them 11th by offensive line overall, but the best, yes, they're the best in the ACC. Because I don't know, Walter Jones. I mean, Walter Jones is like the best dude ever. So
Walter Jones. That helps.
We are kicker U. We are kicker U. We are number 1 in kickers. Yes.
How ironic is that, considering the history of the program? That
started from the bottom, now we're here.
Yeah, look, kicker you. Now, Fitzgerald, let's add to that a little bit, buddy. Come on, Fitzmagic. Going to need you to come around. But, yeah, I don't know. When you look at, like, Ohio, like, as somebody that grew up watching Florida State, it's like, come on, man, Florida? What, really?
Right, yeah.
But it's,
Major Wright doesn't know where the pass is. PK Sam just caught it over him. Where's the ball? I don't know where the ball's at.
Right. But then, I get it too, man. I don't know what his metrics were.
Gus Scott. I'm sorry, it was Gus Scott. It wasn't Major Wright. I'm sorry, Gus Scott.
I don't know how you determine something like that as far as what your metrics are for it, but it's not like Ohio State and LSU and Florida and Miami. It's not like they've had a bunch of bums. Those schools have unloaded secondaries into the NFL.
Yeah, I just
don't know. They've had great players.
I really don't know Florida, though. I mean, I'm not, that Vernon Hargraves guy was like their last first round, or Chauncey, the guy that I think that Atlanta got, might have been Keanu
they
Scott
had Elam,
or Keanu
was a first round. So I don't know if they do it by first round picks because they've had a bunch of first round picks.
Yeah, but
none of them have been Dion or Leroy Butler. Yeah. But they've had a bunch of first round picks. So I maybe that's the biggest factor. I don't know.
Okay. Jay Spiz, wake up. What's up, Aslan and Corey? We're getting closer to the start of the season. He's just super excited about Deuce Spann. Can we just throw him a 5-yard slant on a post? We don't need him to learn the whole route tree right now. Just give him the ball, let him do the rest, catch the ball and run. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, we say that a lot when it comes to somebody that's the position about learning the route tree, that's not that hard. Like, learning the routes isn't the issue when you've just started playing a position, or you're just into college. It's not running the routes necessarily. It's learning how to run through contact, to high point a ball, to snatch it, your footwork. All that stuff, man, it comes into being a natural receiver of the football. Or not a natural receiver of the football, but a good receiver of the football, because I don't know that he's all that natural at it. Some guys, like Rashad Green, man, you saw him, the one practice we got to watch that year, his freshman year, you're like, man, Ira even said it. It wasn't true, but the sentiment was correct. He's like, that guy's going to play in the league for 10 years. And he should have. I'll never know what happened there. Yeah. But he was a great college receiver. He was just smooth. Routes made sense to him. Leverage made sense to him. Getting inside a defender, getting inside them back outside, setting up a defender. All of it just seemed natural to him. It's not necessarily natural with Deuce Spann, and that's what you're looking for. Like, yes, you could just say run a 5-yard slant. Can he get inside the receiver and then avoid the safety? That's the stuff that it takes practice. It takes experience. Anybody can run deep down the field and you just throw it to them. But to be a receiver, you've got to do more than that. And I know they're working at it. I know he's working at it. And yeah, he is a weapon that I think they will use this year. He did not do much on Wednesday, but he's had a really nice camp so far. I think he's very much in their plans. And I just think it's not so much learning the plays and learning he's a quarterback. He's a high school quarterback, a recruited high school quarterback. So he understands offenses. He understands what a receiver's trying to do and what a defense is trying to do to the passing game, to defend it. It's just a matter of running the routes and getting it, being able to compete with cornerbacks, being able to go over top of them or go by them, setting them up, all that stuff, man. It's just precise routes. That's the stuff he's got to work on.
I love how you said it's not about running the routes, and then you just ended with saying it's about running the routes.
No, but not knowing the routes.
Right.
That's what I meant.
Everyone knows what a 7 route is. I mean, these guys know what you got to do on a slant, but it's actually going out there and fine-tuning all of it. Yeah, we get it to your point, Spiz, but I mean, I think they know how they can utilize him, and they will do that. He will be on the field. Now, will he be making these plays that we see in practice against LSU or Miami? That's to be determined. I don't know how I feel about that quite yet, but obviously from what we thought about him leaving spring to where we're at now, we definitely have a much better, higher opinion of what he can be this season.
Corey Simon told me something that I think applies to Deuce Spann and Tate Rod. Well, Jordan, everybody. Sorry, I don't know why I was just singling out people. I think it applies to every athlete. But he was talking about how, literally, and I know this isn't brand new information, but confidence is so important when you're an athlete. And he goes, it's, the physical side. I think he said, and I don't want to misquote him because I wasn't really interviewing him. We were just talking, but he's like 50% of being a great athlete is confidence. It's like, it's as important as the physical. He goes, when I took off as a college football player is when I was on the practice field and said, none of these guys can block me. I am unblockable. And that's what ended up happening. He's like, I got that confidence. Now, what comes first? The ability or the confidence? How do you have confidence if you're not any good? Corey Simon was an All-American and a first-round pick. Confidence should come with that. But if you go on the field trepidatious or hesitant or don't believe in yourself, man, it's hard to be great. That's, what was so encouraging about Jordan Travis on Wednesday. He did everything with so much conviction. And I use that word a lot, but I just think it applies here. And Deuce Spann, if he can, in Johnny Wilson, Mike, all those guys, man, if they believe in themselves, if they speak their truth, Aslan, like we speak our truths, and they believe it and it becomes true, then, man, they could take off. But it really is important, the confidence that they have on the football field. When Deuce Spann is playing LSU, does he look across from that corner and up top of that safety and said, these fools can't cover me. They have no idea what's about to come. Or is he saying to himself, man, I hope I don't screw up. Man, run the right route and please don't screw this up. Like I think it's a fine line there because you want him to like pay attention to detail, but you also want to have this air of like confidence that like Jared Verse has. Like just, I'm better than everybody out here. Deal with this. Come watch this.
Nullboy02, what's up, guys? Wake up. All right, let's go to it. How many wins would the 2021 team have if 2022 Tate Rodemaker started over McKenzie? Thanks for answering my question. Support the players with merchandise or YouTube accounts. Jay Spiz also said he's going to go eat Zaxby's later today, so shout out to Jay Spiz. How many more wins does the 21 team have if 2022 Tate starts over McKenzie Milton? Well, I would beat Jacksonville State.
One probably.
Yeah.
But again, like I don't want to dismiss McKenzie Milton that much because as much as I've liked what Rodemaker's done, and I thought he had a good practice again on Wednesday.
That offensive line was a little bit more problematic last year than what Tate has now.
It was, and he also go do it in a game, bud.
Yeah, that's true.
Go do it in a game, and then we'll see. Like I can't sit here and say, oh yeah, they beat NC State, they beat Louisville, or they beat even Jacksonville State. With Tate Rodemaker, because I don't know if he can handle the moment. I think he can because he should be much more confident than he's ever been. Like we were just talking about. But I don't know for sure. And Mackenzie Milton didn't lack confidence. Now, he lacked the ability to make throws and reads there at the end of his career because of that devastating injury, mainly throws, not reads. But he didn't lack confidence. But I don't know. I don't want to put Tate in that on that pedestal quite yet until we see him do it in a game. Even if it's Duquesne, man. Even if it's a quarter and a half against Duquesne. If I see it and he looks like he looks, if he can carry it over and look and throw the ball like he's looked and thrown the ball so far this fall or this camp, then I'll come back to me with that question, and I might give him 2 extra wins.
Kind of crazy how Mackenzie Milton escaped the wrath of the fan base that has a lot of wrath when it comes to that game. But Jarvis Brownlee bailed him out, so he should be always
no
some of that dream field money.
Adam Fuller and Mike Norvell bailed him out.
Okay. Samurai Knoll, hey gentlemen, wake up! Greetings from the land of the rising sun. Real quick, Corey, you and Tom Fine after the Bravos Met series.
Yeah, we're good. We didn't talk about it a lot. I was sending them some not so pleasant texts when Scherzer was dominating, knowing okay they've won 3 out of 4. Oh, and now it's DeGrom that you got to face. Man, it's not fun, man. The Mets are a beast. The Mets are a problem. Dare I say, they are a big problem. But the beauty is, the Braves certainly weren't the best team in baseball going into last postseason, but they got hot when it mattered for the first time really in my life, and so that's you don't have to be the best team to win in October. You just have to be the best team of 2 in a series, and that's what the Braves kept doing.
He's also praying that you got a good report on your autopsy, Corey. I said biopsy, Samurai Knoll. He's alive.
Yes, yeah, I did. I hope, man, you never really get a good report on an autopsy, do you? It's always a bit of a bummer, whatever they find. No, I did actually. It was a benign lesion.
All right, let's go.
So
good.
yeah, it was not cancerous at all. It was a benign lesion. So that was very good news. They don't have to dig into my nose anymore.
Take that hat off. Start getting that sun back on you, man.
No chance. No chance.
Have we felt coached up by the coaching staff at all? He feels like Norvell and Atkins have been a little chirpy in a couple interviews, and Coach Fuller was giving positive reinforcement in another. With all the talk of whether to call them coach or not, this seemed humorous to consider.
Yeah, Fuller has fun. He had fun with you too, right?
Yeah.
I like the dynamic you two have is nice. We'll see what it's like in the season, but right now it's a pretty funny dynamic. They're all really easy and cool to deal with. All of them, all the coaches.
Yeah, you gotta be on top of your stuff, especially with Atkins. Atkins doesn't suffer. He's not gonna even give you he won't even really bail you out, which is fine.
Fuller will. Will if you stutter through a question or not really clear, he'll still take it and run with it. Atkins will just kind of look at you and give you 5 words, and then that's it.
Yeah. We like all of them though. Let's go to Ralph in Hawaii. Spartan Knoll 71. Aloha, guys. How's it? Since it's Identity Week, I identify as excited and ready to go.
There you go.
All right, here we go. He's bringing some thunder here. Buckle up. Coach Ron Dugans has taken a lot of crap from some of the Warchant staff and the tribal council. So my question is, when the receivers perform great, is Ron going to get credit, or does he continue to just get the blame? Thanks for the coverage. See everybody in about 2 weeks. Ralph.
It's a great question, right?
It is, yeah. Right.
That's kind of life as a position coach, right?
Yep.
That you don't get a lot of flowers.
Yeah, Jimmy Higgins didn't get a lot of love. But man, when things started coming apart in this offense, he got a lot of the blame.
Right, but he was also the O-line coach when they were winning national championships.
Exactly, didn't get a lot of love then.
I mean,
maybe get a guy recruiting wise, because listen, he didn't teach Johnny Wilson to be 6'7". Micah Pittman, I think, came ready made. He goes over the middle and makes tough catches and knows how to get the ball and turn and go upfield. And again, man, I'm not trying to take anything away from Ron, but Ron's got to develop guys. And I guess maybe you get some of the credit for Johnny Wilson because he hasn't really had a huge swath of success under his belt before coming here. But I think most of it, man, is going to be go recruit a 4 or 5-star guy, bring him here. But yeah, I guess it'd probably be unfair to not give him some of the credit for Johnny Wilson. But yeah, if Johnny Wilson makes the catches that we think he's going to make, it wouldn't be because of you, me, or Jeff Bowden coaching him.
Right. Yeah, it's. I mean, when you think about any position, I was thinking about what position coach really gets a lot of credit for their, other than an O-line.
Yeah. Well,
Like
I think we all
maybe
like Odell. Yeah, we like Odell.
But man,
a lot.
Odell, the credit he gets, and deservedly so, is bringing in the dudes he brings in.
Yeah.
That's the big deal, man. He develops them, sure, but the biggest thing with a position coach, in my opinion, like you can teach the techniques and the fundamentals and all that, and that's all very, very important. I'm not dismissing it, but you got to get players, or you've got to evaluate players. Like I don't mind bringing in a 2-star guy if he turns out to be Tamarian Terry, or a 1-star, whatever he was. Like that's it. But that we know the story of that recruitment. Obviously, that wasn't Dugans anyway, but. That was kind of a weird. Him and Ontario Wilson coming in where nobody knew about those guys. It's just bizarre in this day and age. But I'm saying, like, if you go get a 2-star guy, but he ends up being a 6'4", 210 All-American, you get credit for that. You get credit for bringing in Kelvin Benjamin and Rashad Green. You get credit for that as a wide receiver coach. You don't get credit for
no one was talking about Lawrence. No one's giving Dawsey
transfers.
Love. Yeah, no one was like, oh man, Dawsey's teaching Kelvin how to have soft hands.
No, it's pretty ridiculous that.
Well, we can tell there's some guys that come on campus and they're ready to go. I mean, they're 5 stars for a reason. And there's other guys, to your point, Corey, that come in under recruited, and then you see them grow and develop and blossom.
Well, that's the evaluation part. Yes, where you're like, okay, I don't care what stars this guy has. This guy is going to be awesome. Jimbo was pretty darn good at that at different positions, multiple positions. But I think when it comes to your position coaches, that's just kind of the nature of the job. Is you get a lot more grief than you get glory. Yeah. Jay Graham wasn't. They weren't like, man, look at the job he's done with Devontae Freeman and Dalvin Cook. Yeah. But if you went 3 years with nobody getting drafted out of your backfield and a bunch of pedestrian running backs, and you kept missing on all these recruits and not bringing in big-time players, Jay Graham would have been vilified. That's just how it goes, man. But that's what the paycheck is for.
Seminole life. Wake up, fellas.
It's a good question, though, Ralph. Hey, you know what? I hope we're having that conversation about how awesome these receivers are, and didn't Dugans do a really good job with them.
Yeah. Well, tell Mike Norvell not to go after other coaches during the offseason, and we wouldn't be having this conversation. Yeah. Seminole Life asks, in your opinion, by Clemson or Georgia Tech, is there a possibility that none of the receivers from last year will be starting? Yes. Right? I mean, it's a possibility. He asks if there's a good possibility.
Let's take injury out of the equation. I would say
Pokey's,
no.
Pokey's the only guy that might be able to. Okay.
Yeah, I think Pokey's going to play. I think they trust Pokey. I think they like him. I think he's had a good camp.
Starting by Clemson game. Like you don't think that maybe
I don't think Deuce is starting.
Okay, no Twin Towers offense.
No.
Okay, that's fair. I like Pokey. Yeah, I love Pokey, man. I got Pokey love. I think I might have had Pokey ranked the highest out of all of us on my top 40.
Because
possibility,
that's 3 different kind
of
body types, right? Like Pokey's a speed guy, but he's 6 foot. Micah Pittman's the slot guy that's shifty, also pretty fast, but the shifty guy. And then if you're theorizing that the other guy will be Johnny Wilson, well, that's a clearly different body type. I think Malik McLean's in the mix there. I thought he had a nice day on Wednesday. They got some options finally. That's good to have.
Small possibility. I mean, okay. I don't know. They could go Malik McLean and Johnny Wilson out wide, and then. But
still, that's somebody starting from last year.
Well, how? I mean, Malik McLean started a game last year?
Yeah, Malik started multiple games last year.
No kidding.
Yeah, come on, buddy. Wasn't a great receiving core.
Yeah. NYC Nole. Oh, he's back. Right on. It's our guy with Paul Gleason, flashing the horns.
There we go. Welcome.
2 weeks, Bender. Wake up. We're in a new spot.
2 months. 2 months.
2 months, sorry. It's me, NYC Nole. So as you know, a win over Duquesne would lead to our first 1-0 start in 6 years. So my question this week, will that sort of start warrant another champagne shower for Corey Clark?
No chance. I'm not.
Yeah, come on.
I'm not soiling the great tradition of dumping champagne on myself for Duquesne. Not doing it. LSU, I think it was decided yesterday at practice that a hand grenade is more known than a hurricane.
Okay.
When it comes to Bourbon Street drinks.
Yeah.
Would you say that's accurate?
I'm partial to the hurricane. But I mean, the hand grenade comes in that device. It looks like a funnel, but then the bottom of it's actually like a grenade texture. It's like it's like a plastic long, crazy-looking cup, if you will.
So I would dump that on myself.
Oh, that's so sticky, too. But a hurricane is sugar.
They're both sticky, right?
Yeah.
So I just know I know it's going to be sticky either way. I don't want red coloring on my face or whatever color those things are, but I can do it for I can do it for you guys.
Hand grenade ain't clear either though. But somebody was talking about gumbo, like pour a bowl of gumbo
pour a
over
thing
you.
of gum. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Or throw crawfish at me. Yeah, we could do a lot of things in New Orleans.
A shout out to Noles _no_1. I think that would stand for Noles #1. He thinks the biggest impact that Deuce Span's going to have will be from his ability to take the top off of defenses and opening things up.
Yeah.
That's valid. That's valid.
Yeah.
Let's go to this one. I like this one. It's No Blood 55. Wake up. Corey Naslon, longtime listener, finally decided to take the plunge into the awesomeness that is warchant.com. Thanks for all the hard work you do and the promo. I'm from Chattanooga, home of Reggie White, Samuel L. Jackson, and Usher. Became a fan of FSU when he was 8, heard Bobby Bowden speak, said, I want to play for that dude someday. Went to Florida State in 2008 on a visit. It was awesome, but then he was told he was undersized. But he hung on and played at UTC, that's Tennessee Chattanooga, where a dude named Adam Fuller would be his defensive coordinator, and he would play defensive tackle for him. The man is smart, and I wish him nothing but success, obviously, now more than ever. That's awesome, right?
What a small world.
Yeah. Let's
Florida State fan ends up playing for the future defensive coordinator at Florida State.
Yeah. All right, so he says, I would rather see defense winning more than offense. 1, because the defense wins championships. And 2, even if the offense is not beating your defense in practice, it is making the offense better going up against a good defense every day. They may not score as much as on our defense, but get into a game and they can be successful. Those are my thoughts. Thanks for all you do. Also, by the way, he is a head coach of a semi-pro football team in Chattanooga as well.
All right, man. That's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I never thought about that. Even if the offense is struggling, you do want your defense to be ahead because at least you're going up against something really stout. So then, theoretically, you play against teams that are not as good as your defense that is leading the way.
That's the hope.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the truth.
Yeah.
But that's the hope, right, is that you're not going to face many defenses as good as your own. So that could be a benefit. And look, Wednesday I was actually thinking about that because, the defense I think has won most of the days, right?
Yes.
They won the majority of the days. They got ripped apart. It was not the normal practice flow, but in the 11-on-11 stuff they did, I would say there were probably a total of 40 plays. They got ripped apart for the most part. They just did. And I think that's a good thing. Not just for the offense either. Mm-hmm. Like, I think the defense might have gotten a little bit of like, man, we're really good. We're dominating these guys. They might have gotten a big head collectively about how good they were, and they got chopped down to size a little bit. So I'm really, really interested. Legitimately, this isn't to just get y'all to tune into our show or log on to Warchant and read our observations afterwards, our YouTube channel and all that stuff. I really am legitimately interested in how the offense responds today. Because the defense is going to bring it today.
Yeah.
They don't want to be embarrassed 2 days in a row. That's a proud bunch, and that's a lot of good college football players on that side of the ball. They're going, and they're going to be challenged, and they're not going to like reading what I wrote and listening to the things that are the tweets that have been made about how good the offense was. Like, oh yeah, they're going to praise the offense. We've been dominating them for 2 weeks. They have 1 day, and then all of a sudden they're the great. There's going to be a chip on their shoulder. How will the offense respond to that is what I want to know. Because it's going to be a whole different energy level now, I think, in these next 2 days, at least on today, from that defense. Will they still be able to make those throws? Will Jordan still be as confident with all that conviction I love to talk about and throw with conviction today when this defense is probably, you hope, a little more amped up? But yeah, it's a great point, man. It's a great point about defenses making the offense better no matter what. And I think, look, man, the offense has gotten better. Like, they weren't horrible Tuesday in Doak, were they, Aslan?
No.
They made some plays at the end of practice. And then this one, they just carried it over and made plays all throughout the practice. And that's good to see. They're getting better, which is the whole goal of practice.
Gary Sinsamilia. Wake up, gentlemen. Corey, going off last week's comment, I have not done much with my sports management degree. Shocking, I know. It's early on in Brady's high school career, but maybe see if he can tap into the Clark math genes or his thespian talents instead.
Yeah, smart. I will. We'll see. math genes, is that what he said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Question for you guys, without drawing the ire from Gene. What road game has been your favorite or was the most fun to cover so far for Warchant, and why? Are there any stadiums or schools you would or would not like to return to? Good luck in Jacksonville Junction, boys.
I don't want to go to Virginia Tech again.
Okay.
I didn't cover that for Warchant. I was with the Democrat, but man, that's a long drive, number one. And I know, again, that's not anybody's fault but mine. But I drove there. It is not easy to get to. It's not like it's, right when you get into the state. It's up some hills and in some woods somewhere. Blacksburg is not an easy place to find. When you park there, this is the thing I remember most. It was the EJ game, the EJ Rashad Green game in 2012, where they beat him on a Thursday night. And we had to park about 1.5 miles away up this hill. And I'm telling you, Aslan, it was like something out of the Blair Witch Project. There was a house in this parking lot, which it's a dark parking lot. There's no lights. And this is the media parking lot. So there's cars there, but there's no lights, no like street lights, no overhead lamps or anything. And off, like maybe 30 feet off from the parking lot, right at the edge of the woods, is this like cabin-looking house with a single light on. Oh, man. And it was the creepiest it was the creepiest stuff I've ever seen. And so I walked by myself because Ira was still writing, because of course he was.
Hey, easy,
So I said, I'll go get. It's fine. I'll walk. I'll go get the car. It's cold. It was 20 degrees. Oof. I'll go get the car and bring it down, and I'll text you when I'm here, and you can walk out and meet me. And that's what happened. But the walk there, especially when I got close to the car in that weird psycho looking house by the lot, I'll never forget that, and I'll never want to go back.
All right, what's your favorite?
The best. What's the best?
For me, the favorite. I don't know if I've even seen them win a road game, to be honest with you.
Well, maybe just the trip itself.
I'm lamenting that, but no, the bowl game. Listen, I love bowl games, especially the way Gene covers it, because it was like, all right, Florida State's getting to town on the 20th. You guys are going to fly out there the 19th to be there. So it's like we covered the thing. We covered the Sun Bowl like it was a national title game. It was crazy. That was fun. Especially because that hospitality staff there, these bowl games have these hospitality rooms and volunteers that, want to put on this really good sort of, show for, the whole world watching and the people that are there. We ate so well. Who doesn't like Mexican food? And we had all the best Mexican food El Paso could offer, and met a whole bunch of great people. Got a cool little bowl gift, a foldable chair with Tony the Tiger on the back. So that's been my favorite road game so far to cover. And stadium I wouldn't want to return to. What about Independence Stadium in Shreveport, Louisiana? I figured that was going to make your list, Corey.
No, I went immediately to Blacksburg. That's on the list for sure. And I'm trying to think of, I'm just trying to specify it with Warchant. Overall, there's been, back when they used to go to the big bowl games, clearly L.A. was awesome once the plane landed.
What about North Carolina last year? Wasn't Brady with you?
Yeah, that's not a bad, that's a good one. For Warchant, that probably is my favorite. Brady was there. Stephanie was there. It was an Embassy Suites. We got there Thursday night, I think, stayed in Embassy Suites, which you got to do when it's, you and the woman and the child. So you each get a room. So we got there Thursday night. We went out Thursday night. Friday, we did a big tour of like Duke and North Carolina, like the campuses. Yeah. And then we went to downtown Chapel Hill. Then went out to, it was a good time. It was just a good time. And they won the game, which was crazy. And Brady got to meet Devin Travis and take a picture with him after the game. And Brady and Stephanie sat and cheered and watched a good game while I wrote about it. So yeah, that was probably my favorite one since I've been at Warchant.
All right, let's try to get maybe 3 or 4 more in here.
Let's do it. Let's roll through them.
We'll get through them in the live show, and then maybe some left over on Monday. Our guy, Derek XDQ004, wake up. Based on what you've seen during practice, give us 2 surprise predictions for breakout performers who are not in the top 40. Support the sponsors. Go Noles. Well, Deuce spans 1, right?
Yeah, that's not in our top 40. Yeah.
Yeah. And then who else? Azareye'h Thomas is 26, so I can't say that he was outside the top 40. Like Schrader, because I don't think Schrader made it. And now that Schrader's, kind of knocking on the door of backing up somebody, maybe he could end up being. Maybe ends up.
Where was Jared Jackson?
35th.
That's not outside the top 40 either, but it's really close, and I'm going to say him.
Oh, jeez.
I'm doing my own. I'm doing my own rules.
Well,
I'm saying
Jarian.
him.
So what I have in front of me is the list that Gene sent to us. So 41st was Leonard Warner. 42nd was Jarian Jones. Tate was 43rd. Fitzmagic 44. Keyshawn and Mastermana were tied at 45 and 46, and then Kentron Portier. So
I'm saying Jared Jackson, man. He's making notice me type plays.
I got one.
And he did it on Wednesday, even though the defense didn't have a good day overall. I thought he had a good day. I thought he had a really good day. And then I thought Derek McClendon had a pretty good day.
All right,
but he's on the list pretty high. But so Jared Jackson is almost a guy that not many Florida State fans even know or know his number. But he just stands out to me every day. He is a big physical dude that is tough to block when he's playing well.
I'm trying to think if there's somebody on defense that I could say. I mean, I guess Jarian is outside. But listen, he's going to get beat for a touchdown, and that's just going to ruin him in everybody's eyes. He can have 3 pass breakups, but he's going to surrender a touchdown against Miami
I hope our listeners are a little more nuanced than that and don't just think because they give up one play that all of a sudden they're not any good and you guys were way wrong. Like Jordan Travis will throw an interception. Johnny Wilson's going to drop a pass. Micah Pittman's going to have a game where he has a catch for 9 yards. Like, that's all happening. It doesn't mean what we're seeing right now isn't true.
Right.
It is happening. We're not making all this up. So that means it is possible that these guys will have very, very good moments, but they're also going to have a few duds. It's life. All you guys have duds. You're not great every day. Not like this show.
Yeah, he's been quiet the last few days, but it's going to have to be somebody on offense. All right, I'll say, I think we said Jarian and Deuce before, but maybe if you want another name, maybe Brian Courtney. He seems to be maybe the most athletically gifted tight end they have. That's out there right now.
Oh, he definitely is the most athletic tight end they have.
Yeah, because Cam McDonald's been limited. Not limited. He hasn't been practicing. He's got an injury. Look how I did that. Didn't even tell you where. Cat Chaser. I think he's from Eastlake High School, my alma mater. Wake up. Morning, gentlemen. He wants to ask Corey a question. Okay. He agrees with you. The South does have better athletes. I will disagree with you when you reference Kentucky as being in the South. It's a northern state, possibly even Midwest. I have an ongoing argument with some Kentucky friends about it all the time. Love the news site, especially for a buck.
What they're in the Southeastern Conference, though.
Correct.
And I assume they fought on the side of the South in the Civil War.
Pretty sure.
That's all I need, right?
Yeah,
I get what you're saying because it doesn't feel like Georgia and Alabama. Kentucky's pretty high up there, but it's still Kentucky. I still think you would call that the South. It's not the deep South. I don't know if I'd call it the deep South.
Right.
I think that's Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, but it's the South. I think it's not North. And he said Midwest. I mean, it is really close to Ohio. I mean, it borders Ohio, right? Yes. So it's right there.
I don't like the Midwest designation distinction. Like, how can, I don't know, Nebraska be the same as Pennsylvania? I mean, Pennsylvania is considered the Midwest of some people, which is crazy to me. Like, how? How is Pennsylvania the Midwest? Like Pittsburgh. Anyhow.
Well, yeah, I hear you. It's all semantics, Aslan. It really doesn't matter.
Great country we live in.
I'm not gonna argue with somebody that wants to say Kentucky's more. I would say, how about Western Kentucky is Midwest?
Okay.
But Central to Eastern Kentucky, that's the South, baby. That's the South.
Island Chief, wake up. In the after scrimmage presser, I was touched by Coach Fuller's obvious fondness for Aslan. Who knew?
Yeah.
He says to put on my Rod Serling voice. Who's Rod Serling?
He was the Twilight Zone guy.
Okay, all right. He posts a GIF from the Twilight Zone. Imagine, if you will, a positive turnover margin, special teams that are above average, a wide receiver that can go over the top, and relative health. 35 points per game is the floor in this situation, right? Am I in the Twilight Zone?
I wouldn't say that. I think that's the ceiling.
Oh, it's not the floor, but it's not the ceiling.
No, I'm saying I don't think that's the floor. I think 35 points per game is the absolute best this offense could possibly be.
After what you saw on Wednesday? I mean, just.
Oh yeah, man. I guess ask me again in a week. If I see that every day for the next week, maybe I change my tune. Like, okay, this is for right now. I'm trying to just keep it in perspective and say that it was one day. It was a glorious day.
Yes.
But it was just one day. if they string them together, then you're like, oh, this is what this is now. Then maybe I'll change my tune. And if they can, if they can hit those kind of plays, I mean, well over 300 yards passing a game, with two guys that get over 100 yards receiving, if that can happen multiple times, this is going to be a better team and it's going to be a much better offense. But let's see it more consistently before we I don't know, start counting our chickens.
Yes, well said. All right, M. Adams CZ, it's our guy Mark in Naples. Wake up! The new On3 site has really boosted Renegade Express. Aslan posted a thread around 11 o'clock on Tuesday night. I'm probably the 15th person at 8 a.m. the next morning. Good Lord. I can't believe that. The good old days, I would be the first in line. Just kidding. I love the participation. FSU Nation clearly pumped for the season. I am a little confused about the tag identity week, but I guess Norvell has a method to his madness. What do you think he means by that exactly? Sure, guys are still fighting to lock up a starting job or at least a spot in the rotation, but shouldn't we know our identity as a team by now? Mike has clearly established a foundation of work, playing for each other, playing hard and disciplined for all 4 quarters. Interested on your take of what Identity Week really means. Thank you sincerely for the hard work and making Warchant TV and this new website a great fan experience. Go Noles. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate that.
Always the best, Mark.
Yeah.
What do you think there, Aslan?
Well, you can have an idea, right, of who you want to be, but I think identity is a little bit different than, idea. So, yeah, this is 6 days in a row. And now, listen, man, Wednesday was a little bit less strenuous.
Yes.
So, I mean, they're not killing these kids for 25 periods 6 days in a row, but they got to get on a bus and go to Jacksonville and stay in a dorm. I mean, he's really going to put them under more stressful situations to see how they respond.
And then a scrimmage right after that.
Yeah, they'll be there in Jacksonville Thursday, Friday, come right back and scrimmage on Saturday.
I also think it's not. I mean, I think part of it is, and I'm not getting.
Corey, I wasn't done.
Oh, I'm sorry,
That's
buddy.
fine.
Go ahead.
But no, I guess
you were done.
I guess to your point about there being so many coin flip games last year. Not that I think they shrunk in moments, but I think he's trying to create like a really rough part of camp here now so that they can grind through it and figure out a way to play their best, because this season is going to come down to 3 or 4 games that are going to come down to the fourth quarter with about 5 minutes left, and he probably thinks this week the camaraderie, the grind, the stress, the strain, that's going to be what you're going to endure in those games and those situations. And if they can perform well this week, he's hoping they can perform well in those games, and then that changes the entire complexion and trajectory of this program moving forward. Corey.
Sure. Well said. I also think that it can also mean not just the collective team identity, but what is your identity as a player? Like, as in, once this scrimmage is over, they're going to know whether you're a backup or you're in actual, that you're not going to play this year, you're a scout team guy, or you're a dude that could contribute this year and you're part of the rotation. I think all that is known. That you'll be 2.5 to 3 weeks done with practice, with preseason practice, and you'll have had 2 scrimmages. This is the week for these guys to separate themselves and let them know, yes, we're planning for you to play, or we are planning for you to not play. And I think that's what the next 3 days are about too.
This is going to reveal my character, whether or not I let this name. See, I could either report this name, and that will show my character, or I can just be like, whatever. I'm not going to clutch my pearls over it. The username is Spear for that Nole. So my question for the Renegade Express is this. It's been my observation that since the beginning of the offseason up to this point, and I imagine all the way up to the LSU game, that how good this team could be going into this season has been elevated from 7-6, hopefully, to a confident 8-5, to maybe even 9-4. What will be the sentiment about the season from the Warchant staff if we start off 1-2, or God forbid, 1-3? I've long thought about that. Spear for that Nole. What will it be, Corey? Like, how would? Because listen, we couch, we table, we put things in context. But if they start 1-2, 1-3, and listen, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I lose sleep over some things, but you guys getting mad at me, I won't. But they're going to get mad at us, and I know like you'll take umbrage with some of this, Corey. But if they start off 1-2, 1-3, with the way we've been talking about this team, and listen, we can be wrong, but again, we're talking about what we see. I am not projecting. I am not putting a lot of hope, and if all this falls right, but I'm going day by day. This is what I saw today. And couple that with what I saw a few other days, this seems to be the trend. But yeah, if they start off 1-2, we're going to have to answer questions that we don't want to maybe answer, because I think a lot of people will be like, "What's the deal?" So like, what will have gone wrong if they're? What will we be talking about if they are 1-2, 1-3? The reasons, I guess, could you see in your mind for coming out of the gates that sluggish after the way we've been kind of talking about them here the last 10 days?
It'll be interesting, man. Like, if that happens, number one, you're going to be disappointed. Obviously, we all will be. But it's going to be hard. Like, and we talked about this on headlines. Well, if you have another rough start to a season after the excitement of, again, a pretty exciting offseason, I guess, and a lot of additions, and you start out 1-2 again, even though, man, LSU and New Orleans, that's no piece of cake.
No shame in losing that game.
And at Louisville on a Friday night with a good quarterback. There's no shame there. There is shame to losing them both. You know, again, we call all these games, there's like 7 or 8 of them that are coin tosses. Well, you can't keep losing the coin tosses. And they didn't. Like last year, they won more than they lost after the ridiculous first month. But some of those were coin tosses, man, when you look at it. Like the Miami game, Boston College game, Florida game. I don't know. There was a couple other ones where it's like, yeah, the Syracuse game. Like, you could have lost all of those. And I know you did lose the Florida game, but that was a game that could have gone either way too. If you go out and start again and lose 2 winnable games, I know the fans are going to be jumping off if they're on. I don't think many fans are like on this bandwagon necessarily, but if there are, they're going to be jumping off. But what about the players? Are they going to do it again? Are they going to rally back again from another bad September? Like we said, a 1-3 start, 1-2 or 1-3 start. Can they rally up again, or was that a one-time thing? Because you got at some point maybe have a good first month. And I know Norvell's only his 3rd year, but it's been so long since Florida State's won an important game in September. It's been 6 years. So, man, if you go and lose these 2 games, both on national television, they're the only games on. So the whole world is going to watch you lose again and again. That's tough, man. I can understand there will be a lot of vitriol. Now, are you losing 31-30 on some crazy fluke stuff? Or are you losing 41-9?
They're not going to lose that way. That's the thing.
Well, I don't think so, but don't you think? I mean, I do think that matters. I don't know that we can just be...
They lose 31-28 against LSU, and they go lose 34-24 against Louisville. Man, people are going to be pissed off regardless. Yeah, man. No, because no one's expecting. We're beyond 41-9. Like we overcame that last year. That was lose small. Now it's win small. They have to win. Especially the way the calendar is. Because, yeah, you lose that LSU game, you've got that whole long week. If they win that game, it's going to be amazing to bask in that afterglow. But if they lose and then they follow that with losing to, like, Louisville, that's going to be like a long 17 days or whatever those 2 games were played over. I mean, that's going to be brutal, man.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially for recruiting, you know?
Well, sure. But I'm talking about maybe the temperature of the fan base and the temperature of Warchant is I do think, you know, it's not like it's an excuse to say, well, you know, that game could have gone either way. Those games last September, Wake Forest certainly, I guess that was the only game that couldn't have gone either way.
Yeah.
But the defense was so bad for those first 4 games that there was nothing redeeming about it. The offense was and the defense was horrible until the second half of the Louisville game. If there's redeeming qualities about these losses, it doesn't mean it's a lost season if you start out 1-2. You come back, you got Boston College at home, you can even it at 2-2, and then you're on equal footing. You've got 8 games left. Win 4 or 5 of them, you're going to a bowl. Somehow win 6, you're going to a good bowl. It's not out of the realm of possibility that could happen even with a rough start. I just think in that stretch, that 17-day stretch like you talked about, yeah, there would be some legitimate vitriol aimed at Norvell for where is the improvement being made. I guess my point would be Florida State right now, and I know I hate being the nuance guy. I get what matters. But I don't know that the Florida State fan base right now can solely judge the progress on a W or an L. What if you play terribly and win? What if Louisville just gives you fumbles the ball 9 times?
I ain't complaining.
But you know, or if you lose 31-30, but play pretty well, and just maybe they hit a Hail Mary at the end or some nonsense. Well, when is that ever going to happen to Florida State? Come on, guys. They don't do that. They're not giving up something like that. So I just think that the way the game is played, the way those two games go will matter. If the offense looks like it did for chunks of last year, if the passing game still hasn't developed, if they're only averaging 22, if they only score around 20 points a game in those two games, I think you will be very right to criticize Mike Norvell and what he's done with this offense for the last 3 years. Even if they lose close, even if they're 23-20 losses or 26-20 losses, I think you can still think, okay, well, the program is much more competitive. It's a better program. They're not embarrassing anymore like they were last September, but the offense still isn't making enough strides to be excited about the future prospects of this team. I think that's all fair. But I can promise you won't hear us. I think we do a pretty good job of painting within it's not all black and white, but Aslan can paint with black and white too, and I think sometimes that's needed because I always want to be nuanced. You're like, it's not the end, and it's like, yeah, they lost again. They keep losing. And I remember I lost it 2 years ago when on headlines where they were talking about who did they just lose to? Oh, they lost to Pitt, and Ira and Jeff were saying, well, that's a really good quarterback that came back. And I'm like, okay, great, yeah, that's great. What are we going to say when Bailey Hawkman lights him up next week?
Yeah, I remember that.
What are we going to say about that? They get lit up, but it doesn't matter. He could have had 0 legs, and he would have thrown all over this defense. They're not coached. Quit giving these guys excuses to just be awfully coached. And that was probably too harsh, but I think that was the reality of what fans were thinking at the time. So I think we'd have a good back and forth and a good perspective there, because I do like to keep it probably too nuanced. And I think sometimes, Aslan, you could be too little black and white, but I think together it's like peanut butter and chocolate.
That's right.
It's a perfect combination. But my point was, I think we will be very fair and speak like many fans speak if they're 1-2. I think you can say, okay, they look better, they're a better team, but you can also say, like I did with Willie's last year in 19, they were a better team than they were in 18. They were making improvements. They just weren't enough. And you can say both things are true. They're a better team, but they're still not good enough, and that's on Norvell.
Yeah, we all come back around to the question: what will be the sentiment about the season from the staff? The two things for me, I think, will be it's gonna fall really hard on the coaching because of the absolute luxury that you have now, the transfer portal, and how much you've gone to it. So I get talent. You win with what you have. It's all about players. I understand that. But listen, you've had this luxury that no other coaches had before, and you've really hammered it home. And then if they start off 1-2, 1-3, like I don't want to go to practice anymore. They can keep it open. Everyone go to practice. I don't want to go because I see a better team. And if they're not better, I don't want to go watch practice then. Then what's the point? What's the point if I see a team that I think looks better, Corey, and is not better? So that'll be the sentiment from this part of the Warchant staff. But keep it open, Coach. Keep it open, Derek, for everybody else. But I'm not going to go.
Right.
Let's rush 2 more. Noel fan 624. Welcome. He says, wake up. He likes hearing about the receivers, catching contested passes, and finding out whether it's QB2 or QB3. I know we want players to get reps, but at what point do these receivers that we expect to be relied on this season start to heavily practice with quarterback 1? Next week, coming off the scrimmage,
I would even say, yeah, but I think they plan on rotating. I think that's a good question.
They do. I don't.
But
I want
like
2013 Florida State wide receiver. Just give me 3 guys. Give me 3 guys that can count. That's all I want. That's all I need.
I don't think you quite have those guys on this roster.
You don't.
I would say, what do you think the rotation will be?
But who are the guys behind them that are – that's the thing. Like, there's nobody that's clamoring. I think that's like, all right, give him a shot instead. Like, no, man, just trust these 4 guys and just go with it.
Who are the 4, though?
Johnny Wilson, Micah Pittman, Malik McClain, and Pokey.
So, but Deuce will probably be in there some. I think Keyshawn Helton might work his way in there some. So, do you think the rotation will be 6?
I hope not more than 5.
Do you think Portier maybe?
No. I'll do 5. I'll throw Deuce Spann there. I mean, Keyshawn, I don't know. Maybe if you make Micah run a go out of the slot and then he needs to take a blow, then you put Keyshawn.
don't think Pittman's going to play every snap. So you're going to have somebody else in the slot. You're going to have to rotate him some. I do think that, and again, we're not giving away any depth chart.
I mean, what, are they going to be going on 6-minute drives all the time? I mean, it's 2022. People score fast, you know?
Well, yeah. I wonder who's going to get run at the slot. I think out wide they got Span, Wilson, and who was the other one you mentioned? Deuce.
Malik
No,
McClain.
I already said him.
Malik McClain.
McClain, yeah. So you got 4 guys out wide that I think will probably be in the rotation. And then in the slot, yeah. I just wonder what they think their rotation is. Because I think right now, honestly, I would say Travis is probably throwing to a group of 5 guys. Typically.
All right.
There's usually about 4 or 5 guys that are on the field with him at a time. You guys can figure out who most of them are, but it's 4 or 5 guys. There are other receivers that I'm thinking about in my head. I'm like, yeah, I don't think he's ever been on the field with Travis. Now, let's see next week if anything changes. If not, I think that's what they're going to want to do. But yeah, you do need to pare it down a little bit. You need to figure out, okay, if these guys are going to be on the field the majority of the time, let's give them the majority of the reps with 13.
Okay. Let's get to the 20th comment on here. It's our last one, I assure you and promise you. It's Pensanola. I just really like that name. They might be from Pensacola and now live in New Orleans or vice versa. Wake up! I started listening last year after I met Corey and Jeff at the Pensacola Seminole Club kickoff party. Speaking of, this year's kickoff party will be on Tuesday, August 16th, 5:30. Athletic Director Michael Alford, the guest speaker, featured speaker at the Seville Quarter. All Seminoles are invited. This is my first post, so my hometown is Ridgewood, New York, also home to Tommy Ramone, drummer for the Ramones.
Okay.
Awesome. His question, if I could guarantee you that Jordan Travis will not miss any playing time this year.
Wait a second. Wasn't there another Ramone?
There's a bunch of Ramones. There was Johnny Ramone. Where did the
other brothers grow up?
Are they not brothers? Are they cousins? Maybe they're different.
I'll look it up.
I'll
look it up. You ask the question.
The question, if I could guarantee you that Jordan Travis will not miss any playing time this year, how does that affect your win projections? Thanks, guys. Wash your Zaxby's down with some DeLuna while hitting the subscribe button. I like the way it's asked. You probably are not going to like the way I'm answering it, though. If you had asked me this 2 weeks ago, 2 months ago, I would say it affects my win projections greatly. Maybe like a +2 WAR if we're going to go baseball. It really depends, I guess, maybe on the teams. I think Jordan, obviously, playing a defensive line like Clemson or Miami is going to be much more of a threat. He's going to be much more beneficial for Florida State. But again, if he can't play against Georgia Tech or Boston College, I think Florida State's okay with Tate Rodemaker right now. So that way it would not affect my win projection. I guess it depends on what games he wouldn't miss. But yeah, I mean, if Jordan's healthy the whole year, I still think. I mean, I will go to 8. I will go to 8, and I'll dig my heels in on 8. If he promised me he doesn't miss any playing time. Okay, there's my answer. 8.
If we see the Jordan Travis we saw on Wednesday all season in those 12 games, put me down for 14.
Oh, yeah.
Put me down for 14, baby. We're going to be in where are the playoffs this year? I stopped looking that stuff up about 3 years ago, Aslan. I can't remember why.
Right? It's sad.
I don't know what the playoff stops are this year, but we'll be in one of them. He's just I would say 8. If you told me for sure he played every snap, I would say my win total is 8, and I feel pretty firm about it. Again, though, that'd be great if it happened. It'd be a little bit surprising, to play every meaningful snap. But if he did, I'd put it at 8. But like Aslan said, I would have put this time last year, if you told me Jordan Travis is your starter going into 2022 and Tate Rodemaker's your back. I shouldn't say this time last year. Let me say November of last year. If you'd have told me that Jordan Travis is your starter and the backup is Tate Rodemaker, I would have said the difference between Jordan Travis starting every game and Tate Rodemaker starting every game would have been a difference of 6 or 7 wins.
Wow. Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. Now I would say 1 or 2. Again, though, we'll see. The caveat there is I have not seen Tate do any of this in a game. But what I see in practice, I think Jordan is the better guy for this team, and I think he's a better quarterback right now. But Tate Rodemaker is proven, in my opinion, through practice anyway, to be a capable backup, which I did not think he was at all. And it was my fault. I I was a MP, not a YP. That was my problem. But I think now if you told me, I would still, if I thought this was an 8-win team with Jordan, I would think it's a 6.5 win team with Tate. Okay. 6 to 6.5 wins.
Corey Clark doesn't go to the national title game every year, but when he does, it's usually out in Los Angeles. That's where the national championship, well, Pasadena, close enough. Championship games in Los Angeles. Semifinals are in the Fiesta Bowl and the Peach Bowl. So maybe we'll stick around in Georgia, Corey. Maybe they can make it up for 2014 and put Florida State there in that semifinal
There we
game.
go. Hey, I looked it up, by the way. All of the band members adopted, and the Ramones adopted pseudonyms ending with the surname Ramone. Although none of them are biologically related.
I feel like I'm living a lie. I've been living a
Man,
lie
I
this whole time.
thought there was a bunch of Ramone brothers, but they all just changed their last name. That's crazy. You can't do that. That's crazy. They were inspired by Paul McCartney, who would check into hotels as Paul Ramone. So that's why they became the Ramones, because Paul McCartney would be Paul Ramone in a hotel.
Corey and I in Jacksonville as you're listening to this, covering practice for the next 2 days. Go to warchant.com. We'll have everything there as well as on our YouTube site. And we will be live Thursday night at 6 o'clock. That will be your Friday podcast. So tune in either live tonight at 6 or we'll talk to you on Friday morning. For Corey, I'm Aslan. Thank you for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.